All right, we're back. I'm going to give everybody a minute to get here. If we don't get here in a couple of minutes, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. But I'll try to bring it up on my other phone too. Doesn't look like the notification went out. There it is. Hey, Ryan. So as soon as we get a couple more people in here, I'll tell you guys what happened. I'm trying to bring it up on my other phone. No, I ended up having to leave it. What happened was I was parked at a truck stop, like a little mom and pop truck stop, and there's no signs about it being paid parking or nothing like that. And this truck driver come up and said that he pays $300 a month for that parking spot and that I got to move. And I'm not I'm not opposed to that, but I didn't like his attitude, and I let him know it after we got off the air. That's I don't know what's wrong with people now. People are getting to where they run their mouth just a little too much. And he could have come up and asked me nicely. He would have got the same result. I'd have still moved, but I didn't like his attitude, and I let him know it. Um, I had to kind of stay in check, though. There was a Illinois state trooper there too, but man, it's I don't know what's wrong with people. Another trucking show I was watching earlier today, she said that somebody pulled up beside her and was cussing her out and everything. It may go into that frustration that I was talking about earlier about the economy and the way things are right now. But people don't know how to talk to people no more, and there's no respect. Like I say, he could have asked me nicely. I'd have been glad to move, but come up with his attitude, and there wasn't any sense in that, in my opinion. So anyway, we'll get back into where it was. Somebody was asking about Michelle. She is for lease purchase, and you have to have 9 months experience verifiable before they'll even consider you for leasing a truck. They'll talk to you at 6 or 8 months, but they really like you to have that 9 month experience. And I'd like you to have about 5 years. I just don't think somebody's ready at 9 months. But I know nobody's going to listen to me on that. But there's just so much. I mean, at 9 months at best, you've been through one winter, and there's no way you could have a grasp of um, freight lanes and things like that after 9 months. But people are going to do what they're going to do. Now, Michelle may be able to refer you to a company driver, and I usually in the comments of my videos, I've got one. He's real hard to reach, though. It's best to just email me, and I'll get you with a company driver recruiter. Let's see. James is back. Good deal, Mayor. So, a trainer that has an MRP lease, how much does he make a week? That's probably a good question for the mayor to answer. He used to do some training. Uh, and from what I've heard from guys, it really depends on how uh, how good your student is. DeAndre, when he was in here the other night, he answered a lot of that. But really, I don't think it's a huge difference in pay. It's just you've got to have that mindset to where you want to train and help others. Yeah, and I guess he was entitled because he paid for that spot. But I kid you not, there was not one sign up that said anything about paid parking. He said, "Oh yeah, they're gonna make you move because you got to pay the paid parking." Well, I'd been there 2 hours. Nobody said nothing. I'd went in the store and purchased, a lot of products, Coke Zero and a sandwich, and some things like that. So, but I like I said, I don't mind moving, and I just went down the road to a rest area, and with my lights and cameras and everything set up, I'm sure somebody will interrupt this video too. But uh, I just I can't believe how people talk to each other, and it's probably a good thing that cop was there because uh, my temper might have got the best of me. It was bad enough he was interrupting this live. It's worse. There it is. We're back up now. Everything's going crazy tonight. Yeah, thanks for coming in, Chili Dog. I apologize to you guys for the interruption. We've lost over half our viewership from that little debacle. I don't know what I could have done differently. As I said, there wasn't any paid parking signs or no parking signs or nothing like that. Here's the answer to the training question. Nothing for the first week, but weeks 2 through 4, about an extra 1,000 a week is what he saw. Ran as a super single, not as a team. Yeah, I think that's probably the safest and best way to do it. So are you going to lease that truck on with Swift if you buy it when you get everything fixed? Maybe. I hadn't decided yet. I may take it and sell it. I'm buying it cheap enough that I could sell it for a lot more I could sell it for about 5 times what I'm paying for it in Texas. I'm tempted to take it to Texas and sell it. If it takes me a while to trust a vehicle, and that includes cars. If I go to a dealership and buy a car, I do a lot of short trips around town before I make a big long road trip in it. And same thing with a truck. I'd have to be really comfortable with it before I'd do that because I'd be putting all my financial eggs in one basket. This truck here is really, really reliable, and I just hate to give it up unless I'm sure I know what I'm doing. Now we did the math. I could save about $3,100 a month going from this truck to the comments keep crashing. So tell me if you guys don't see everything. But I'd save about 3,100, but then I'd have probably increased maintenance too. So it's going to be a long process where I think about it before I make a final decision. I wouldn't move, but you have to watch that people would do something to your truck yeah, yeah. Well, there was a state trooper in the parking lot, and I was more worried about a tow truck coming. But it's I'm not out of hours. I could move. I haven't worked that much today. I just stopped to do this video, and then I'm going to go deliver this load, and then I'll be stopped till at least tomorrow. But man, I don't know what's wrong with people. The way they drive now and the way they act, it's it's got crazy out here. And the way to get yourself out of a financial bind is not by treating everybody else like crap. And I know he's tired and wants to go home, and I get it. But maybe that truck stop should take some of those $300 a month rental fees they're charging for parking and put some signs up that say paid parking only. And if they're on a tight budget, maybe just put a sign on the door that says it's paid parking only. I went in there and bought $30 worth of stuff, and they never mentioned anything to me about it. And the guy could have been lying for parking. But we're in Chicago area, and as you guys know, the crime in Chicago is worse than a lot of third world countries right now. So I didn't want to get shot or get in a worse situation. It's best just to leave. I would have told him when the truck stop people come out, then I'll move. I would have not moved based on what a driver says. Yeah, but the problem with that is I do that, and then we got another interruption when the cops come and the truck stop comes. It's easier to just move, and go 10 minutes down the road and resume the video. But yeah, I was tempted to do all sorts of things. In my younger years, I had a real bad temper, and even it's on YouTube. I've had a bad temper more recently, but I'm trying to calm down and be more relaxed in my older years and not get as riled up. And so, but yeah, I don't like that situation at all. So running super single is basically where either you let the driver or the student drive most of the day and then you'll drive 3 or 4 hours at the end of the day, or you drive most of the day and you let the student drive 3 or 4 hours a day. Think of it as solo and a half. So basically, one person does most of the driving and the other person does a little. Uh, I know a team that does that right now, so it's more common than you might realize. Usually, it's like around maybe 4,000, 4,200 miles a week, something like that, between the two. The mayor says, super single is both of you taking a 10-hour break at the same time. Drive is only 14 between the two of you. Yeah, like I was saying, you should find something to do local around where you're at. That way you can be home with your wife. Um, I did that. I had a deal where I was home every other day. A lot of people don't realize my wife rides with me a lot. She's not with me right now because of doctor's appointments, but she does go with me as much as she can. We're really happy with the situation we got now. Um, she had some medical problems that required me to be home like that, so I was, but insurance was killing us, and I'm talking about health insurance. And we're real happy with the situation like it is right now. Like I say, she does ride with me from time to time, and so yeah, that's what I'll say about that. If you got more questions, I can go further in depth, but we're real happy with the situation um, as it is now. All our kids are grown, and she goes to Indiana and sees her kids a lot. And she does ride on the truck with me periodically and may come out in March or April. We hadn't decided yet. If it's pending, there's no surprise doctor's appointments or anything like that. I knew it. Can't see outside because I got it so bright in here. Somebody walking around my truck. I don't like being up here. People are out of control mainly because there ain't enough accountability for anyone's actions. Yeah, yeah, it's like the mayor says, since COVID, people have gone crazy. But I don't know what that is. Maybe that's glare off my camera. There's nothing right here though. I don't know what that is. I don't think. Is that my steering wheel? Nope, it's not my steering wheel. It's not my curtain. Anyway, we got something on the edge of the screen and I don't have a clue what it is. But let's jump into the comments some more. We're starting to get everybody back now. It may have taken a while for the notifications to go out. I don't like the idea of reserve parking. It will get worse once they implement charging stations for these electric trucks that mega carriers are investing into. Yeah, there should be a way around. I don't mind the reserve parking, but if you buy a tank of fuel or something, they should give you a free spot, my opinion. But they're not going to do that because it's $15 to $20 a person that they're getting. And let's be honest, we can't get truck drivers to agree on anything for more than about 5 minutes. Most of them will just take it. And as long as truckers are willing to take it, they're willing to give it. Hey, overhauling. Yeah, they go to Canada. And I heard that they even have a couple of loads that go to Alaska, which I would love to do. I'd have to get my passport, but I've heard they even go up there some, but not a lot, obviously. Mysterious orb, exactly. It's got to be glare off of something. There's nothing there. That's weird. That is so weird. Unless it may be the mount that my. Yep, that's what it is. Mystery solved. It's my mount. By the way, there's something I want to talk about. Phone mounts are getting worse and worse. This mount I'm using here was like $60 and it's junk, utter junk. I'm going to get on Amazon and see if I can find a better one. I use a Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, which is a huge phone. And so you have to get a tablet mount usually, and they're just junk. I think Love's is the best so far because I've never seen reserved parking at Love's. They usually have smaller lots. Yeah, the deal about Love's is they know when they build those truck stops, it's going to be busy. And then they purposefully make the parking about half what it should be. I don't know why they don't build bigger parking lots for Love's. Oh, really? He said it was on before. I figured out what it was. It's this mount. One of the little arms had popped out and it was getting picked up by the camera. Frank says he'd love to run an Alaska load, but only in the summertime because the winters are probably brutal in Alaska. Oh, yeah, that would be a drive. And I would hate going through Canada, but I would like once I got to Alaska. Ram mount is decent, or look at Pro Clip USA. I'll do that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make a note of it so I don't forget, and I'll check it out because I don't mind paying $60 or $70 for a mount, but I want a good one that works and I don't have to replace it 3 weeks later. Pro Clip USA and Ram mount. You guys should get them to let me advertise their mount. They should give me a free one to test out on this channel. Yeah, if you're gonna dream, dream big. Yeah, no kidding. Loves is the reason I'm fat. All those free soda waters, refills, is gonna kill me one day. It's funny. I read that while I was drinking a Coke Zero. That's hilarious. Hey Todd, I gotta hop off. My 7-year-old daughter is sick tonight and wants to talk to me. Uh, Thanks, man. I appreciate you coming in, and we'll catch you later. Have a good night. Let's see what else we got. I hate that the other one ended though, because we were almost at 50 and we lost a bunch of people. But and this one was supposed to be titled Part Two, and for some reason it didn't put the Part Two on there. So when we end this one, I got to go back and edit it and try to fix that. But yeah. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about tonight? Anybody had some experiences with Trucker CFO that they want to talk about, or anything like that? I know we talked about Michelle earlier. I'm glad that it didn't turn into what I thought it was going to tonight. I had some people that was really passionate about wanting to smoke marijuana while they drive a truck. And I really didn't want to debate that too much tonight. I appreciate it, Chris. I feel like I let you guys down because we got interrupted, but I appreciate everybody coming back and sticking around. Oh, yeah, yeah. So he wants me to talk about what I said earlier about Chicago companies. And there was 2 or 3 guys, I remember 2 real fluidly this week, that were looking at Chicago area trucking companies. Well, what about this company? What about that company? And One of them is a company. I didn't know this till tonight when I was talking to James. One of them has several names that they go under. And these companies, they're fly by night. They're generally in Illinois. They're generally foreign owned, and they sound like a great deal. But if you're considering doing your first lease purchase and you don't realize that an $1,800 a week truck payment is insane, then you're not ready to lease a truck, because that's not where it ends. You've still got insurance, you've still got fuel. A lot of them charge a trailer rental fee, so many things, and they dispatch you and they control your home time. It's and so I asked these guys, both of them, when they said, well, we're thinking about doing this. I said, why? What is it about it that draws you in? 1800's insane. I told them that up front, and they said, well, we like that one of the guys said, I like that they cover the maintenance. The same problem with that logic is the same problem when guys say, I want to get 5 trucks and go to Landstar. You're assuming when you call the company and say, hey, I've got a maintenance issue, that they're going to say, oh, well, let's get that fixed right now. Your level of maintenance and their level of maintenance may be entirely different. I was sharing when I worked at Western Flyer, and this was years ago, that they had a similar deal where they covered all the maintenance, bumper to bumper, anything. And they did, but you had to go to Oklahoma City to the terminal to get it done. Well, in the middle of summer, 100 and something degrees, I was in California and my air went out. So I called them and I thought, oh, they're going to send me the TA and get the air fixed, because you got to have air. All right, Todd, we'll try to get you a load back to Oklahoma. It'll be 7 to 10 days. So for over a week, I drove that truck with no air. And if you've never driven a truck, it gets hot in those trucks. And you go to lay down at night and you just lay there and you're sweat and you're miserable and uncomfortable. And it's just awful. And so uh, the other option was I could have paid out of pocket myself to get the air fixed, but you're paying for that bumper to bumper coverage. So you hate to double pay. Now, some of you right now are hearing me say this and you're thinking, oh, you're talking bad about MRP at Swift because Swift does that. No, there's a difference. Uh, Swift is the same. They would like you to get it fixed at a terminal whenever possible. They will do roadside repairs if it's not feasible or possible. But the difference between Swift and Western Flyer or these Chicago-based companies is Swift has 38 terminals. So a lot of times they'll say, well, there's a terminal a couple 100 miles from you. Can you go to that terminal? We'll get it looked at. Whereas if you're working for one of these companies that's only got 1 or 2 terminals, it could be weeks before you get your stuff fixed. So if you're thinking about going to a company just because they're going to cover the maintenance, don't pay almost triple what I'm paying for my truck. I could start a fleet of 2. If I got MRP trucks, I could get 3, maybe 4 trucks. Yeah, close to 4 trucks for what you could get one of those trucks for. The other thing these foreign owned companies do is they start you off real good. I've got another friend that he's a YouTuber with kind of a small channel. He's gone to work for a bunch of them, and he'll start his YouTube videos with, oh man, I'm here, I'm making so much money, things are great. I'm going to do an income video every Friday. And he'll do a couple of them and then he'll stop making them. And every time I always call him and I'm like, where's your income video? Oh, I got busy. I didn't do one this week. All right. Next week, no video, no video. Then all of a sudden he's quit, and I'll call him and I'll say, hey, you quit. Why? You said you were making a lot of money there. No, I only made $600 this last month there. No, I only made $1,000 my last month there. So they're real bad, and it's not just him saying it. Everybody I've talked to that works for these fly-by-night companies, they start off good for 2 or 3 weeks, and then everything goes bad. Well, Todd, that's mean. Why do you call them fly-by-night companies? Because oftentimes they'll change their name. Like James was telling me, one company I was asking him about, he said, Todd, they got like 4 or 5 different names. And if I said who they were, you'd know who they are. Some really big YouTubers have worked there recently, is all I'm going to say about that. Now, the other part of that I said is a lot of guys say, I'm going to get 5 trucks and go to Landstar. All right. You're assuming that with those 5 trucks, you're going to find 5 drivers that are exactly like you, that work like you, that take care of the truck like you, everything. And that's hard to find. And as soon as they can get their own truck or they can find a company with benefits, then you're going to constantly be running ads trying to fill those trucks. And here's the other thing. You're assuming all 5 of those trucks aren't going to break down. What if 2 of those trucks break down one week? Do you have enough money to cover everything? Because now you've got 5 company drivers that when they break down, they're going to want breakdown pay. They're going to want hotels. You've got payroll taxes to pay on them. There's just a lot of headaches there. Now, am I saying don't start a fleet? No. If that's your goal, go for it. But try to find guys that you know. Maybe if you've got a brother-in-law that he's a good guy that you trust, put him in a truck. Maybe if your dad's retired and he wants to drive for a few years, put him in a truck. Or you got a brother or something like that. But if you think you're going to hire 5 strangers and you're just going to get rich overnight, look, if it was easy, everybody would do it. That's all I'm saying. And just be careful. And one thing that'll sink you faster than anything, a lot of businesses have experienced it, is trying to grow too fast. It looks like we've got just about everybody back now. Oh, Chris, you missed a lot. If you get back, go watch the first half. I was parked at a truck stop. There's no signs up or nothing. A little mom and pop, and it was all paid parking for that parking lot. And some rude driver come beating on my truck, telling me I had to move, and he wasn't nice about it. And I muted my mic and I got out and I wasn't nice about it. And I came back in here and said, hey, I got to end the video. And then when I ended the video, I went out and we extended that conversation a minute. It didn't get violent or nothing like that. There was a highway patrolman there, Illinois state trooper. So I had to kind of keep it civil, but I let him know what I thought about his attitude and everything before I left. Hey, Todd, love your videos. Love truckers. They're such sweet people and are honestly handsome. Thank you. I think I'm the exception to the rule. I think I'm the exception to the rule. I wouldn't call myself handsome, but here's the deal. We all think of the trucker that doesn't take a shower and that's dirty and he's foul mouthed and undereducated, and that hadn't been what I've met out here. I've met a lot of people that are just blue collar people that are just trying to take care of their family. And have I met some that they didn't have the best social skills? Yeah. Have I met some loners that preferred to be in their truck alone and didn't have a lot of friends? Yeah, I've met some of those too. But for the most part, most of the people I talk to on a regular basis are just good blue collar people with a family at home that they're trying to take care of. And a lot of people, they think of Smokey and the Bandit from the 70s. They think we're all out here doing drugs. We're all racing down the highway. We don't care about safety. We don't care about nothing. And that hadn't been my experience. Most truck drivers are just trying to do their job and get home to their family. Now, having said that, since COVID, like James said a minute ago, a lot of people have got rude and they're in a hurry all the time. I think the market has stressed a lot of people out. People will snap a lot quicker than they used to. And there's a lot of people out here that aren't mentally stable. So you got to be careful out here. This is different times that we're living in right now. So do you agree having the same law with marijuana as they do alcohol? So here's my take on that. I'm a live and let live kind of guy, so I think people are to be able to do whatever they want to do. I don't think they are to be able to do those things and drive a truck, because you can injure a lot more people in a truck than you can a car. So, um, somebody tried to make that comparison this week to drugs and alcohol, or marijuana and alcohol. And the difference is marijuana stays in your system for 30 days. Now, I'm not saying you're inebriated for 30 days, but it's in your system for 30 days. Alcohol's in your system for hours. Um, and it's not even long hours. DOT says you're supposed to take a 12-hour break before you're driving, I believe, or that may be the company policy. Anyway, somewhere between 4 and 12 hours. And so um, it's hard to do. I had guys ask me, well, why can't I smoke marijuana on the weekend when I'm off and then drive Monday? I can drink alcohol on the weekend and drive Monday. Well, it's because by Monday, the alcohol's out of your system. By Monday, the marijuana's not out of your system. Now, if you want to go quit driving a truck and work a regular job and smoke marijuana, go for it. Or if you want to work for a construction company in a pit driving a dump truck and smoke marijuana where you're not on public highways, go for it. But I just I don't know. It's I'm probably going to lose this argument with you guys, but that's just my thoughts on it. I don't care if they legalize it for everybody. I really don't. I just hope they don't make it where truck drivers can do it like cigarettes, because it's clearly more potent than a cigarette. Now, it's important to mention that, to the best of my knowledge, nobody has ever died from a marijuana overdose. So it's definitely not as bad as some of the other street drugs, but I'm a little nervous about a bunch of high truck drivers getting behind the wheel out here. They already can't stay in their lane. They're already playing with their cell phone and got their feet up on the dash. And now we're going to hand them a joint and say, now, y'all be careful out there. Oh, yeah, I could idle because I was buying the diesel, but it that just makes it worse. Then you're getting that engine heat back on you. It it's just there's no. I ended up getting a hotel on the nights I could find a hotel with truck parking. But when it's 100 and something degrees in California, idling doesn't help you if you don't have air. This truck I'm in won't idle unless below 30 degrees or above 70, 75, or 80. You can have them turn that off if you. They've probably still got it set up for company. You can. It's called ambient temperature, and you can have them turn off the ambient temperature to where it'll idle all the time. Mine will idle all the time, but sometimes if you set the opti idle, it won't start if it's in that ambient temperature range. And the next time I'm in a Swift terminal shop, I'll get them to turn that off too. I want to be in full control if I'm paying for it. Not that I want to idle, but there's sometimes you need to. Exactly. Like I've got a George Foreman grill in the back. I like to idle when I'm cooking or something like that back there, or the microwave. It'll microwave for 2 or 3 minutes without the truck running. But if you're going to be microwaving something for a little while, you need to idle the truck. And like I say, they will turn that off at the shop if you just talk to them about it. Hey, McCabe, glad you're here. Sorry about the interruption earlier. Super Ego does cross border load across all their companies, and by the time it gets to the driver, it's 1,000 less than the start. Yeah, and again, I'm not a lawyer. Let me put that out there, but I'm pretty sure that's getting close to double brokering. And every company does it to an extent, unless they're showing you the actual rate con. And I don't mean the one that's got their company logo at the top, but if you're on percentage pay, you should be able to see that actual rate confirmation to make sure that you're truly getting what your piece of the pie is. And very, very, very few companies are going to show you that. Yeah, I lease with Swift Transportation. I'm in a straight lease, and I drive a 2022 Freightliner Cascadia. I think it's got about 103,000 on it now. It had 28,000 when I got it, and I'm really, really happy here. They're not perfect. I'm not saying they're perfect. And I'm not saying I don't get mad at them from time to time. And I'm not saying they don't get mad at me from time to time. But overall, as a whole, we work together really well. And it's been a good move for me. Says, hey, Todd, a while back you had a link to view what trucks Swift had available. Anyway, you can link that. Well, here's the deal, Jeffrey. Uh, I didn't want to do that video, and they talked me into it because they don't do a very good job keeping that website updated. So, absolutely none of the trucks on that website are available right now. Now, you could go on there and look and kind of get an idea of what you're looking for, and they'll try to find what you're looking for. But the trucks go, they say daily, the inventory changes. I would say hourly. Basically, as soon as a truck comes out of being refurbished and gone through their inspections and everything, 6 lease purchase recruiters are trying to grab them up and pair them with somebody as fast as they can. It's possible you could call Michelle at 10 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, I want a red Freightliner, and her say, we don't have any. And then 2 hours later, she goes, oh, I've got 3 of them, or I've got 1 of them. You just never know. And right now, it's a crazy mess because the trucks are going so fast. So they've had so much interest in Swift, and so many people are coming on board and realizing what a good deal it is that it's really just hard to do. It's the best you can do is just do your application, do your drug test, and after your drug test, tell them what you're looking for, and they will really try to get you what you want if it's something they got. Now they're not going to go out. I had a guy the other day who wanted them to special order him a Volvo 860. They're not going to do that, but they got some 760s or whatever they are, and if that's what you want, they'll try to get that for you. Or if you want an international, they got some LTs, which I know a lot of you guys hate LTs. I think they're actually an okay truck. They got Freightliner Cascadias, and they got some Kenworth T680s. Now you can imagine everybody wants a Kenworth T680. So you're probably going to have to get one on MRP if you want a Kenworth T680. Now, as soon as I say that, there'll be 3 that'll pop up that are straight lease trucks. You just never know. But I'm just speaking in generalities here and trying to get you to set realistic expectations so that you can get something you're happy with and get on down the road and make some money. Do you think it's worth becoming a lease operator with kids that depend on you? My biggest concern is the medical costs that can become 6 figures if something were to happen. So I use healthcare.gov to get health insurance. And it's tough to tell you in your situation because I don't know your wife and I don't know your kids. I've got an aunt that her husband was an over the road truck driver, and she did really well. She had, I think, 5 or 6 kids, and she managed that very well. So some people can do it. Some people have strong wives that can run the household, and some people need help. And so that's something that's a decision that you got to sit down with your wife and talk to her about. But I would say also that if you don't have a lot of money saved up, you shouldn't do it to begin with for that reason right there. If if you're living paycheck to paycheck and spending everything that comes in and your truck breaks down, and I don't care what brand of truck you get, how new, how old, at some point it's going to break down. And if you don't have any money put back for that, then you're going to fail and your family is going to be in a financial bind. And so in your case, I might suggest 15 or $20,000 in savings. But before you even get to that point, I'd sit down with your wife and make sure she's really on board with it. Also, some of it's going to depend on where you live. If you live in a good area, you might still be able to get through there. You know, if you live in Dallas, Chicago, a major freight hub, Atlanta, uh, places like that, you might be able to get through there enough to make it to work. But you know, I've said in other videos, I think a lot of people that are leasing a truck have no business leasing a truck. And earlier in the show, we had a guy that worked for Estes that he said, he asked me about coming here, and I told him he should keep doing what he's doing at Estes. He's got a good deal. So I'm not just going to blanket tell you to come here so that I can make money off of you or something like that. But I would tell you to have a good conversation with your wife. Look at your finances. Um, yeah, most of the time you're going to make 2 to 3 thousand a week take home, but sometimes you're going to have stuff happen and you're not going to make money for several weeks if your truck goes in the shop. So you got to be able to handle that when that happens. And the more people involved in that, kids, wives, things like that, the harder it is to do. What do you like eating best at truck stops? Chicken, fried steak, with mashed potatoes and gravy. Um, Being from West Texas, I'm a steak guy. I like steaks. Here lately, I'm eating a lot of grilled chicken. I'm trying to eat healthier because I've got to go to the doctor in a few weeks. Cholesterol's a little high. Blood pressure was high, but we got it under control. And I'm a diabetic, so I am trying to do better and eat more lean meats and things like that, more salads. But it's a struggle. It really is. It's easy to make fun of people when they're going through this, and it's easy to say, "Oh, you just need to eat better and exercise." But putting it into practice is a lot harder. And but generally, if I could eat anything I wanted, I'm a steak and seafood kind of guy, or brisket. I love brisket. Just treat it like alcohol. I don't know why folks made it seem like drivers going to be smoking while driving. Well, the guys that were messaging me this week were wanting to smoke while they drive. They were basically saying they'd drive their 10 or 11 hours, they'd go in the bunk and smoke, and then the next morning they'd get up and drive again. And I think that's definitely dangerous and not a good idea. But that's what they were suggesting. Hey, Mob, glad you're here. Last live, I accidentally said carrier instead of career. Born in 74, but my question, should I start another carrier before going to Swift for experience to affect starting pay with Swift? I don't know what the company starting pay is or isn't. I would say try to avoid job hopping as much as you can, especially when you're first starting out. If you can get a year or two with one company in the beginning, it's going to be gold for you when you start looking for jobs. But if you're working somewhere for a few months just to come to Swift a few months later to get a penny or two a mile more, I don't think it's worth it. I would either start with a good company that you like to begin with, or start with Swift and wait for the raises to come. Not a big fan of switching. And I used to have a neighbor that he would change companies every few weeks. I mean, every time I came home, he was a different company, and he would do it for the sign-on bonuses. But eventually, you have so many jobs on there that a lot of people won't hire you anymore. Many companies, including Swift, have that you can have only so many jobs within a certain time span. And I don't remember, Michelle said it in the Thursday video or in the Tuesday video, but I don't remember what she said. It seemed like it was 4 jobs in the last 3 years or something like that. 4 jobs in the last 2 years or something like that. So just be careful job hopping, even just for a penny or two different. Stay where you're at as long as you can. Also, you'll learn that you'd rather be beat up than switch trucks. It's like an 8-hour job for me to move out of a truck, and it's hard physical labor climbing in and out and getting in the other truck, in and out, and trying to organize and put things where they go. So yeah, that's what I'd say on that. And I hope I answered your question. But if I didn't, feel free to shoot me another question. What are some of the things you think Swift could do without? And what are some of the things you would like to see Swift implement and improve from your experience at other carriers? So definitely Swift has a lot of departments. Yeah, an overwhelming number. At one time, and I don't know about now, at one time, Swift had more departments than General Motors. And I don't know if they still do since they merged with Knight. But I think anytime you get that big, there's some, uh, what would you call it? I don't want to say waste, but there's some bloating that could be avoided, some streamlining, some things like that. And what would I like to see Swift implement or improve from your experience? I've told them this. I would like to see Swift offer some type of class on becoming an owner operator, because so many people get into it and they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And I do my best to help guys, but I'm only one person, and I just I hate to see people um, come in and fail because they didn't properly prepare or know what they were getting themselves in. Let's see, Scott O'Donnell. Todd, worst company ever, sir. I won't lie, I was surprised as a lease purchase here. They offered full benefits. So I'm not sure what company you're talking about, Scott. Worst company ever. I don't know a lot about RE Garrison. I know a couple of guys that are heading over there, and I'm waiting to hear back. But I know their truck payments are significantly higher than Swift's. Hey, Dennis, no problem, man. Yeah, well, it may have been my phone. It seems like Tuesdays and Thursdays, I always have technical issues, and I've got equipment ordered to fix that, and they're blaming it on the weather why it hadn't got to my house yet. But all I can tell you is better videos are coming in the future. Skyline says he's still waiting on Michelle to call him. Email me at truckertodd806 at gmail.com. Send me your name and phone number, and I'll get her in touch with you. It'll probably be Monday or Tuesday. She, from what I hear, she's saying she may take Friday off tomorrow. So just email me, and I'll make sure she gets in touch with you at the first part of the week. Can you put a drive tire where the steers go, or will it be a big deal? So I actually got in a debate with Dart about this. You can't put a drive tire on the steer axle, but you can put a steer tire on the drive axle. Now they do make a universal tire that you can do both with, but yeah, it needs to be a steer tire on the steer axle. Oh, Scott said Super Ego was the worst company ever. Yeah, I've yet to meet anybody that goes, man, I'm at Super Ego and I love it there more than for a few weeks. When they first get there, they love it, and then after that, it seems like everything falls apart. Okay, thanks. So, school wants to know what about dry van start with Swift with intention to go to step deck. So, if your long term goal is to do step deck, I would find a company that trains with step deck and just start there. Um, I don't see any advantage to starting in dry van if you want to go to step deck later on. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody else can tell me a good reason, but I think you just want to stay focused on getting to where you want to get to, and going to dry van might just be a detour that kind of slowed you down a little longer. And I don't remember. It seems like I believe flatbed. They Michelle said they do have step decks in the flatbed division at Swift. So if that's something you're interested in, I would check about maybe getting trained here at Swift and doing it all here. And the money's going to come in the beginning. So people, and I'm noticing this about people, everybody's so worried about money. And what you need to do is just focus on getting good at what you do. Once you get good at what you do, the money's going to come. And So yeah, but you can get your basic experience while you're learning step deck. I mean, you can learn how to secure a load and drive a truck at the same time, and how to tarp a load and how to drive at the same time. So I don't think that I don't think that dry van experience is going to benefit you any if you're going to be doing step deck. Just and like I said, flatbed is where I'm weak. I don't have a lot of information on it. So if I'm wrong, you guys tell me. But I think if step deck is where your focus is, then that's where I would head. Do you do refrigerator or dry van? Do the 2022 Freightliner have LED headlights? So I do dry van most of the time. I have pulled 3 reefer loads since I've been here this last 8 months or so. Um, I most of my truck driving experience is reefer. I've actually pulled a reefer more than I have a dry van. And I can't answer specifically on the 2022s. Or I mean on the 2020s. My 2022 does have LED headlights. Maybe we've got somebody here in the comments with a 2020 that could tell you if their truck has LEDs or not. I believe it probably does. I don't want to give you bad information. I'd rather somebody that has one of those trucks answer that question. But in my 2022, I definitely do have LEDs in here. Swift should update their website and be a little more transparent regards to pay as Prime is on theirs when it comes to base pay for each division. So they do that. It's a sliding mileage pay scale based on the length of haul, and it's common knowledge. I'm the one that holds that up. I don't put it in videos because what'll happen is somebody, and I have it happen every week. People will watch videos I did 3 years ago and expect things to be the same. So if I put it out right now, 3 years from now, somebody will watch one of my videos and go, "Well, that's terrible pay. Swift sucks." And by then, the pay's gone up. So, what I tell people is email me, I'll get you that information, or email Michelle and she'll get you that information. And that way, when I send you the email, you've got a date and time attached to it. When I put it on a video, nobody checks when that video was published. And like I said, my big concern is I don't want to give out bad information. And I tell you guys all the time, if anything I say in this video sounds too good to be true, call Michelle and ask her, "Hey, can I really bring a dog on the truck? Can I really take my wife with me?" Things like that. Don't just believe me. I'm telling you the truth as best as I know it, but I'm a human. I make mistakes. Some of my information could be wrong, or it could have changed. It could have been true a week ago, and it could have changed. So that's why I say that. But it's no secret how we pay here. And honestly, I don't hear anybody griping about the pay here at Swift. Sometimes you'll hear gripes about the freight fluctuating in different markets, but overall, people seem pretty happy with the pay when you run it like a business. If you just want to spend money like a drunk sailor, then yeah, it's you can run out of money here. You can run out of money anywhere. You have to run it like a business. Years ago, like 8 years ago, people would bash Warner. Now they're bashing Swift ever since like 4 years ago. I don't know about that. They've been bashing Swift for as long as I've been truck driving. And uh, Warner still is thought of in not the greatest ways either. Warner's known for micromanaging. So I think any big company is going to catch a lot of criticism. I think any big YouTuber is going to catch a lot of criticism. It just goes with being a leader and being in the spotlight. But I can remember in the 90s when I worked for Swift, we'd get teased all the time. Slow wagon and fast traffic. Stop whining, I'm effing trying. Slow down while I find 10th. I mean, we had all and I used to laugh about them as I drove for them. I thought they were funny too. But I don't make decisions for my life based on what other people think. I do what's best for me. And so that's what I do. Coming from a person that doesn't even have a CDL yet. Yeah, but I'm sure he's ran into truck drivers and they make fun of Swift, and that's okay. I haven't heard anybody talk great about Warner, but if he's hearing good things about Warner, that's okay too. I just, I, so many people are followers, and you get on Instagram or Facebook's terrible about it, or even TikTok. Now that I've got the TikTok channel, and one person will do something like a survey or one of these questionnaire things, and everybody feels like they got to fall in and copy them. And somebody from it with influence will say Swift sucks, and so everybody will go, oh, I can't work there because somebody said Swift's bad. And I just don't work that way. I do my own research, I do my own homework. And do you know how many people told me don't go to Swift, including my ATBS accountant at the time? Don't go to Swift, you won't make the same money that you're making now. And I was like, I've ran the numbers. I think I'll make more. And I made exactly, well, not exactly, maybe a little over exactly. Anyway, roughly twice the income last year at Swift that I did at Dart. I worked 6 months at Dart, 6 months at Swift, and I beat Dart 2-1. And I was running the load boards, negotiating my own rates at Dart. So you can make money here. You can make money at most of these companies, but you've got to learn the company and develop a strategy to be successful. There's more to this than just driving the truck. Skyline said his 2019 had LEDs. Yeah, if your 2019 Swift Freightliner had LEDs, I feel real comfortable saying the 2022 would as well. Thanks for that, Skyline, by the way. Just getting in Texas workforce driving school program, done construction all my life. Yeah, I if it was me and I was in your situation, if step deck's what you want to do, that's what I would do. Um, I wouldn't get sidetracked doing reefer or anything like that. I'd just go for what you want. None of us are promised tomorrow. Just go for what you want. I try. That's all I can tell you, Fearless. Sometimes I'm more successful than other, but I try. Let's say you have 6 months or 1 year experience and your trailer falls off your truck because you didn't hook it right. Do you think the company should fire you immediately or give you a second chance? Um, I had that job I told you about earlier when I was home every other day and I delivered to the grocery stores around Lubbock. Well, actually, I went to Taos, New Mexico most nights. Uh, there was a guy there that dropped two trailers within like a couple of weeks of each other. And I thought they should have fired him, but they didn't. Some things you'll learn when you go to truck driving school is you're supposed to do a tug test when you hook to a trailer, and you're supposed to walk behind your truck, climb up under your trailer, and make sure the lock and jaw latches. Now, does everybody do that? No. People cut corners, get in a hurry, go too fast. But that's a dangerous situation. Um, if that trailer come off even at a warehouse, it folds the landing gear most of the time. It could hit a car, it could hit a person. So it's a pretty dangerous situation. And so I maybe the first time you let it go, but I think if it happens a second time, especially in close proximity to the first time, I think you got to look at cutting somebody loose because it's just dangerous. This is a dangerous job that people don't take seriously, and you can hurt yourself and others real easy, real quick if you're not taking it seriously. So I don't know. I'm all about second chances, but some things are really dangerous. It just takes a second to get under there and make sure the locking jaw is locked, and it takes just a couple of seconds to do a tug test. And even when you first pull out with it and make your first left and first right, go slow. And if you see any slippage, stop and get out and look at everything. Just those little things like that make a big difference. Fearless says he'll be on board next week. That's a good deal. I talked about JB Hunt on Thursday. Where I live, I'm not even in their hiring area. They do have a final mile deal there, but I did their Carrier 360 load board, and every once in a while they would have some loads that would work for me, but most of the time it didn't. Now somebody came on one of the other shows and said that they have 3 different load boards, and that their ones for their independent contractors that work directly for them was better. I don't know if that's true or not, and I haven't seen that load board, so I can't comment on it. But that's I know they run a lot of stuff on the rail, and I know that a lot of times you're picking up at a rail yard and running it a few hundred miles and delivering it. But I've never worked at JB Hunt. I do know if you ever fill out one of their deals to like win a TV or something, they will call you for the rest of your life. I tried to win a TV in Dallas at the TA, and this was 23, 24 years ago. And they literally called me for the next 20 years trying to get me to come to work there. And the way I got rid of them is I said, "Hey, I don't live in your hiring area." And they'd look it up and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you're right. We're sorry." But I didn't win the TV, but I did win a lot of telemarketing. Prime is making everyone put in a request to have PC enabled for a specific period. Does Swift have any limitations on PC and the distance you can go with it? So, Swift's policy on PC, if you are a company driver, it's 25 miles and you got to call in and get permission to even use it for that, because Swift is paying the fuel. If you're an independent contractor, it's wide open. There's no limits on it at all unless you abuse it. So if you're using it illegally, you can get in trouble and get it taken away. But as long as you're using it correctly and legally, it's unlimited. Every day during pre-trip, I always check the kingpin with a flashlight, as well as every time I hook up to a new trailer. I always check it. Yeah, being Trucker Todd, and everybody knows my truck number, and everybody's seen a picture of my truck, and working for Swift, I do a quick walk around every time I stop the truck, because I've had people pull the little rubber cap off my wheel hub up front and oil leak out. I had people unplug my glad hands. I had somebody unattach my mud flaps while I was asleep, just trying to get me a violation, get me on video for bonehead truckers or YouTube channels like that. Everybody wants to make Swift look bad, and I'm sure there's some people that don't like me that like me to make look bad also. So that's what I tell you guys. Whether you love me or hate me, you've made me a better truck driver, because I look my stuff over a lot better than I probably ever did. And you guys ask me great questions, and when I don't know the answer, I have to go out and learn the answer. So I want to thank you for that. Now, I'd appreciate it if you didn't unhook my mud flaps or my glad hands or take my hub oiler caps off. But I've got hub grease in here now. But I'd appreciate it if you didn't vandalize my truck. But I do appreciate the questions, and you guys keep me honest now. Now I have to do a real walk around on my truck. And so um, that's all I'll say about that for now. Yeah, Wolf Wolf says he always checks under the trailer to make sure he's hooked. It's a good idea. And I'm like the rest of you. I probably do a better pre trip and post trip when it's 70 degrees outside than when I'm in a blizzard. But just that quick walk around can save you from a lot of headaches and downtime. And I caught a flat this week and I was able to get it fixed. Cost me $52 to get, or 56 to get a flat fixed. But that's cheaper than a new tire. But I remember when that stuff was like $10. I couldn't believe it, but fortunately they were able to save the tire. It wasn't in an area where they couldn't patch it. When you first started, was shifting a major problem for you, or did you learn quick? I caught on pretty quick, but it's because all through my formative years, high school, elementary, my dad was a cotton farmer, and I drove a lot of vehicles with a manual transmission. Now they had synchronized transmissions, and that's a little bit different than a truck. But especially the trailer backing and all of that, that came real natural to me from being on the farm. The shifting I caught on pretty quick, but I wasn't great at it, but I caught on pretty quick. The school I went to was an old racetrack in Altus, Oklahoma, and we drove on that dirt track. They had cones set up, and we backed up and drove in circles and practiced shifting. And there was people in the truck driving school that was much better at it than me. I got good enough that I could get through my road test, or I mean my CDL test. And then when I got with the trainer, he worked with me a lot and got better. But I was never like terrible at it. I improved a lot when I got with that trainer. Do you always have to do a tug test during the winter? You have to check the jaws and the Yep, you should. You should always do a tug test. It it's just there's no reason not to. It's you're already backing under the trailer. As soon as it latches, pull against it 2 or 3 times and make sure it's really latched. Joe Wentz Project TV. Before I do his comment, I want to tell you guys he put out a video today that was really good about it's got a long intro on it, but after the intro, he kind of does a day in the life of a company driver. And I started to share his video on my channel. I may do that tomorrow if I can get it to do it correctly. But it's a real interesting video. He normally does a lot of music videos and things like that, and not a lot of trucking related. But it looks like it said episode 1, so it looks like a new series he's starting. And if you guys got a few minutes when this live ends, go check out Joe Wentz Project TV. And it's pretty interesting. Like I said, it's got a big, long intro at the start of it. It looks like a movie, but then he kind of comes in it and starts talking and stuff. And I'm about halfway through it, but I'm really enjoying it. And I'm going to watch the rest of it tomorrow. Yeah, he said he agrees. Always check your lock jaws on your fifth wheel. Do terminals have a company car to get groceries? Do all of the terminals have showers? Are they clean? Do you recommend not going to terminals? So, I don't think any of the Swift terminals I've been to have a vehicle you can use. When I was at DART, they had a couple of terminals that had cars you could use, but I don't know for a fact about Swift. I haven't been to any of that I'm aware of that have a car, but I know recently somebody told me when they were in Dallas and they got snowed in that they were running people to the grocery store. So my answer to that is I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comments can give more clarification on that. As for the terminals having showers, they're refurbishing all of the terminals now. So the answer to that is most of them have showers. For example, Las Vegas, they're working on the building. There's no building there yet. So there's no showers there. There is porta potties. But like most of the terminals have laundry, have a gym, have showers. And the showers, they have a full-time person there that cleans them. So yeah, they're very clean. You have to bring your own towels and toiletries and washcloths and things like that. But yeah, I recommend going to the terminals. It's a good place to park, and it's a pretty nice environment. I feel you're a pretty straight shooter, unbiased with no BS approach to advice. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for watching. I really try hard. It's important to me to shoot you guys straight, because let's be honest, I want you guys to come to work here, and I want you to use my referral code because I make money off of that. But even if you don't come here, I still appreciate you watching the videos. And even if you don't use my referral code, I'll still help you. You'll find out when you get your truck, especially if you're leasing, there's no orientation and nothing, and you're not going to know how to log into the Zonar. And you're going to call me and say, hey, Todd, how do I do this? How do I activate my fuel card? All that. I'm not going to say, hey, did you put me as your referral? And then hang up on you if you say no. I'm going to say, all right, let's figure it out. And I'm going to try to get you through it. So I'm going to help you whether you put me as a referral or not. I'm going to help you whether you like me or not. If you've been one of these trolls that have criticized me and called me dumb, said I'm ugly, I'm still going to help you because we need more of that out here. Since COVID, everybody's got mean. I dealt with a mean driver earlier on live air, and we got to get nicer to each other. We got to help each other more. So, yeah, I hope each and every one of you puts my referral code down. But if you didn't, don't let that stop you. I'll still help you, and I'm still glad you're here. I'm not going to treat you any differently either way. 3 years and always looked and did tug test on thousands of trailers. Yeah, I agree with you. I can't think of an upside to not doing it. It now some of their stuff it's silly to do. Like, for example, a lot of companies, when you're backing into a parking spot, they want you to tug your air horn a couple of times. Well, that's a pretty good idea in most situations. But at 3 a.m. in a truck stop when you're trying to sleep, it's real inconsiderate when people come through there and blow their air horns or rev their engines up or things like that. So it's be aware of your surroundings and do what's best for the situation you're in. Do you drive pretty much all trucks the same way, like a Kenworth, Peterbilt, Freightliner? So they all basically have the same transmissions, but here anymore, most of them have automatics. Uh, a lot of them will have a 10 speed or a 13 speed or an 18 speed if they're manuals. There are some 9 speeds out there, and I've even seen a few 8 speeds. But for the most part, they shift the same. How they drive depends more on the wheelbase, how long the truck is. The longer the wheelbase, the smoother it'll ride generally, but the harder it is to back up. So that's the deal on that. But yeah, shifting wise, almost all the trucks now are going to automatics, and there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. And we could debate if that's a good idea or a bad idea. But I can drive anything with a steering wheel. Fearless, would you like a chauffeur at the terminal also? Oh gosh, you guys. Yes. Well, if you're going to dream, dream big. I would like a limousine. There's that truck stop on I-40 exit 39 in New Mexico. Once upon a time, they had a limousine that would go around and pick you up and take you to the front door. It's a pretty nice place. I think it's a Pilot now, and it's not near as nice as what it was. All right, we're going to skip that comment. I started making YouTube videos after 6 years of driving. I feel like now I know what I'm talking about. Actually, my first video is about pre-trip. Sure, I'll check you out. I just know Joe Wentz through videos, and I've talked to him on the phone, and I personally watched his video. I'll try to. Is your channel called Skyline, or what's your channel called? I'll check out your video, but I personally saw his, so I know what the content is. I haven't seen any of your videos yet, and I get tons of requests. Go watch this person. Go watch this person, and I try not to watch a lot because I don't want it to influence my thoughts and opinions. But that one he did today was really good, and it didn't influence my thoughts or opinions, but it was a really well edited and put together video. Get groceries at quick morning Walmart stops, shower at filthy truck stops, buy food so you can park anywhere. Yeah, I would say go to Walmart's when you can. I hate Walmart with a passion, but the groceries are cheaper. A lot of them will let you park a truck there. The terminals have, I think, in most cases, the Swift terminals. The showers are nicer than truck stops, and it is easier to find parking. But I'm really trying to eat healthier, and it's hard to do that at these truck stops. Sorry to be so blunt. It's trucking, not the greatest, not the worst, but I love it. Yeah, yeah. I've definitely been to some better and worse places. I get what you're saying. Yeah, Michelle told it take a day to do paperwork and get your truck. So I'm going to have fun next week setting up everything. Yeah, mine didn't quite take that long, but it's time consuming. Even without orientation, you're not going to do it in 30 minutes, nor should you. And this fearless for sure. I just got into it with another guy today about this. Whatever you do, if you don't do anything else I say, please, please, please read your contract. It'll save me a lot of time. It'll save you a lot of time. There's no gotchas in there. There's no catches in there, but at least you'll know what you're getting into. And it's getting to be like an everyday deal now, where I'm having to tell some guy, read your contract. And oh well, I didn't have a printer with me. Well, you're at a terminal. Go inside and say, hey, can you print my contract? Uh, get a copy of your contract. You're supposed to have one in your truck anyway, and read it. Know what it says. Um, it's got the maintenance schedule. Mine's on the second to the last page. Stay up on your maintenance. Read your contract. Run it like a business. You're not a company driver anymore. And I'm not saying this to you, Fearless. I'm just giving you some last minute advice before you get your truck. Uh, Run it like a business. There, you can do really well out here, and your family can reap a lot of benefits from it if you'll just do things the right way. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It wouldn't take but just a second. Pull your red knob out and yank on it a little before you take off out of your parking place. And, that's what I was saying earlier in the video. I do a quick walk around every time I walk out to my truck, because between working at Swift and being Trucker Todd, there's a lot of people that like to see me do something boneheaded and make a mistake and get it on video so they could all laugh at me. So I take that extra 2 or 3 minutes and do a quick walk around. You might catch a flat tire or something you didn't know you have, and save yourself from a roadside repair that could take several hours. Even if it's a trailer tire and the company's paying for it, do you really want to sit on the side of the road for 4 hours and wait on a repair truck if you could catch it there at the truck stop? I've got an air hose under my bunk. I can air it up myself if it doesn't have an auto inflator on it. And so it's just those little things can end up saving you a lot of time. So the truth about this is nobody's is consistent all the time in OTR. You're going to have good weeks and bad weeks. But if you average my weeks out over the year, you'll find I take home about 2,500 a week, not counting any of the other stuff, just from driving, about 2,500 a week. Um, Anywhere from 2 to 3,000 is pretty good. If it's uh, if it's below that, we probably need to take a look at your settlements and figure out why you're not making what you should be making. And I'm quick at it. I can figure it out. You email me your settlement, and I can figure out within 5 minutes what's going on. Oh, great idea. He said he got Michelle to send him a sample contract before heading out. That's a great idea. Mine's, I want to say 62 pages, so it takes a little while to read. And if you could do that from home without being under the gun, then when you get there and get your actual contract, you can just look over it and make sure there's no mistakes or nothing's changed. So that's a great idea. Do you have a TV, refrigerator, microwave? So yeah, I've been doing this so long, I'm comfortable. But yeah, I've got a TV, refrigerator, microwave, and 3 gaming systems. Xbox. I've got the new Atari VCS, and I've got a Nintendo Switch, and I've also got a laptop in here, and then I carry 5 cell phones. They don't all have access, or they're not all active, but I've got them all unlocked. I can put SIM cards in them. Like when my phone went down a couple of weeks ago, I just switched phones real quick. So yeah, that's kind of my setup. I've got it very comfortable in here, because you're living in here for a few weeks at a time, so you want to be comfortable. My pre-trip's mainly to make sure I don't start my clock with a flat or post like I'd like to know parked with. Yeah, yeah, good idea. And I heard another guy say it this way. He said on your post trip that if you catch something, you can get it worked on while you're on your 10-hour break. So, for example, you get out and find a flat trailer tire, you can call your company breakdown department. They can get roadside out there fixing it while you're asleep. I actually had a trailer blowout fixed while I was asleep. When I went to bed, it was blown out with a bad tire. And when I woke up the next morning, I had a new tire on there and I was ready to go. Whereas if I didn't do a good post trip and I just got it the next morning, then I'd be waiting several hours for somebody to get there. So, and the reason you want to do a pre-trip to see if anything changed overnight while you was parked. And so they both have their importance. And I wish more people would do them. Taking my CDL test tomorrow and planning on starting my career with Swift. Good deal, Don. Uh, I wish you the best. Remember, the first year is the roughest. Just survive the first year and it'll get a lot better for you. That's why it's important to have some savings, Blake, for bad weeks. Exactly. Exactly. Take your time, Don. All will be fine. We've all been there. Yeah, exactly. All right, Skyline, I'm going to check you out. And so I look forward to it. I'm going to give you a wrench too. So that's kind of what we was talking about earlier. There's a lot of guys that brag that. The problem is a lot of guys don't know the difference between gross and net. You can gross that kind of money, but probably not going to net that, especially pulling a dry van. And a lot of these guys that gross that, the company that they're leased on to has so many deductions that oftentimes they're making less than me. It's not what you gross, it's what you put in the bank. And I had a guy kind of take me to task recently because he said, "Well, when you say you average 2,500 a week, you're not putting your taxes in there." Nope, I'm not, because every single one of you's tax situation's different than mine. And I've already told y'all I'm not going to give you tax advice. And some of you live in a state where you've got a state income tax, and Texas don't. We've got close to 5,000 viewers, and I'm not going to do 5,000 viewers' taxes and figure out what each one of you's take home would be out of my income. This is where some of you guys have to do your own homework. I'm telling you what you can make. You need to figure out your taxes. And I've recommended working with Trucker CFO, and I've got their information in the description below. Contact Trucker CFO and let them help you develop a game plan for your taxes. But with any company, I would like you to be making in the 2 to 3,000 a week range, and then you figure out your own taxes after that. But more importantly than how much you make, I'd like you to be happy wherever you're at. So I don't really care what you make. I hope you're somewhere where you're making a good living, you're taking care of your family, and you're happy where you're at. Baked steak, I have all, and it's fine. Trust me. Has it been slow for you? I sat in 34 in LA and didn't need to. Yeah, LA can be slow. Um, it's a little better for me because I can book off the load board. So I generally try to get myself out of there before, or look at my options for getting out of an area before I go in there. But yeah, the last time I went to California that I wasn't on a load board, it was slow. I'm also hearing that the Southeast is slow right now, but that can change day to day. You guys need to be looking at freight market reports and things. Dad has a real good one on YouTube. I believe it's called Dat IQ, that comes out every, I want to say it's Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. They do a good market report. You guys need to look at some stuff like that, especially if you're picking your own loads off of a load board or something that's not dispatched, so that you're making the best decisions you can for your business. Yeah, I would agree with this. Don't believe all the hype, please. Trucking is not easy, but not hard. Just find the job that works for you. Yeah, and I would say this, remember, the richest man in the world is still trying to make more money. So if you're basing all your happiness in life on how much money you got, you'll never be happy. Try to find a job that you enjoy doing at an income where you'll be comfortable and you can do the things you want to do in life. Don't worry about being the richest guy on the block or how much you can brag on YouTube you're making. Find something that makes you happy, and then the money will come. Uh, that's my advice on that. Yeah, I agree. We all have days like that. It's nothing personal. And like I said earlier in the video, the market reports I've seen, they're expecting it to bottom out in the next couple of weeks and then start to rebound. So those of you that have survived these rough times since COVID, you're going to really flourish here real soon because when it was lean, you were able to make it, and now you're coming out of it. So if you got to get out, I get it. But if there's any way you can hang on for just a little bit longer, I think it's going to get better. So, no, I would never consider doing tow truck for a few reasons. For one, I'm getting old and I don't want to climb around like that. And two, you're basically on call. It's hard to have a life. They could call you at any time. I like when I go home, I'm home. Now I still take y'all's calls. I still make videos, but Swift leaves me alone, lets me do my thing. As a tow truck driver, they attach a cell phone to you, and every time it rings, you better answer it and go on the next call. And just not something I want to do. They always wake him up for the truck mileage when he tries that. I don't think I'm getting all the comments. And I know I forgot to turn the heater on when I parked. It's getting ice cold in this truck. You guys will be able to see my breath in a minute. Oh, I get it now. This comment here, he's talking about when I said earlier that I slept while they changed my tire. Well, see, with some of these big companies, uh, I just told them when they called me and asked where I was, I said, I'm going to be asleep. Is he going to need me to sign anything? And they said, no, no, no. The company you're with, we've got it. We'll just change it. So they got the mileage and everything on the phone. They didn't have to wake me up. God, I'd say, hey, do you need any information before I go to sleep? Yeah, what's your truck mileage? So I gave them all of that. And it was nice. I went to bed with a bad tire and woke up with a new one. Yeah, they do pretty good, I think. All of the tow truck drivers I've talked to get paid on commission, and so they do pretty good. So this was more of a problem back in the day when we used to have to call in and get um, directions and stuff like that. Now with GPS, you can kind of find stuff pretty well. But the truth is, it's your responsibility to be on time and to plan. And I never try to get to a place at the appointment time. I try to get there 2 or 3 hours early or earlier if I can. A lot of ours is drop and hook, and that helps too. And every month I get a message 100% on time pickup and delivery. So, yeah, there's going to be an instance eventually where you're late because of traffic or construction or something like that. But generally, if you just manage what you're doing and communicate good with your company, you can be on time. Good evening, Eric. Glad you're here. Man, we've gone an hour and a half this time and like 45 minutes the first time. We are going strong tonight. How long would a new driver need to drive with Swift before he could do lease purchase? They said 9 months. I would encourage you to wait a little longer. There's a lot to learn. I tell people 5 years, but I, even if you're not going to wait 5 years, don't do it after 9 months, unless you're watching all my videos and you're in regular contact with me, and then I'll try to limp you through it and get you going good. But it's a learning curve. There's a lot more to it than just driving the truck. Good evening, Rooster Cruiser. Man, I was over there watching the first video thinking I missed it, just to notice there's another one. Yeah, so we're sitting at the truck stop. I was at a little mom and pop truck stop right outside of Chicago, and I got the curtains closed and everything, because if I leave the curtains open like I got them now, people will walk up and try to talk to me and stuff while I'm on air. And I hear this bang, 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 guy hitting my truck real hard. And I said, hey, I'm something to the effect of, what can I help you with? Or I'm on the air or something. What's going on? You're in my parking spot. And so I said, hang on a second. I muted my mic. I got out. And he said, yeah, I pay $300 a month for that spot. It's mine. You got to move. And I said, man, there's no parking signs here or nothing. I didn't know. I'm in a live. Can we wait a little bit? No, you got to go right now. I got to go. I got to go. And he was real rude. So I said, all right. So I got back in here. I told you guys, hey, I got to go. I'll try to come back on if I can. And then I ended the show and I got out and we had another conversation. And it got heated for a second and there was a state trooper right there. So I just said, all right, fine, I'll move. So I drove down the road just a few miles, found a rest area, and we fired it back up. This one was supposed to say part 2 in the title, and it doesn't yet. But when we end it, then I'll go back and put part 2 in there so it's a little more clarification. But we're almost back to where we were when we ended the other one. So I appreciate everybody coming back. I think it took a while for people to get the notification from YouTube. And I think a lot of people thought it was just re-notifying them about the first one, since the title wasn't different. You said you might sell your Corvette. If so, how much would you sell it for? It's going to be expensive, probably somewhere in the $25,000 to $30,000 range. I hadn't decided yet, but I may sell it at some point. I can't decide. I'm also thinking about just keeping it. It's got a 4-speed manual transmission in it, and I'm thinking about putting a 6-speed in it, and because it'd do a lot better on the highway. It's not fast, but it's a fun car to drive. Handles good, and it'd be a lot better with a few more gears out on the highway. Make sure to see TC Boggs' new video. He called a Swift recruiter and enjoyed all the information she gave him. He recorded the call. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I hadn't seen TC Boggs' stuff lately. Yeah, yeah. That was yesterday, James. I had the Corvette on sale for $500. It's gone up though. That was a 1-day sale. It'll be a YouTube giveaway. Yeah, that's right. That's what we should do. Everybody should donate to the channel, and when we get say $30,000 in there, I'll put all of your names in a hat that contributed money, and we'll, like, for every $100 you contribute, I'll put one ticket in the hat for you. We'll have a drawing and give the car away, but we got to get to $30,000 first. That's hilarious, guys. And that was a joke, by the way. So before people cut that and put it in video clips, oh, Trucker Todd's gone broke and he's trying to sell his Corvette. That was a joke. It's not for sale yet. Maybe later this year. I hadn't decided yet. Yeah, please hit the like button. It is free and it does help me. Skyline's going to bed, trying to get out of Wyoming. Road was closed today from Rawlins to Cheyenne. All right, have a great night. Yeah, text me tomorrow and or email me, and I'll go to work on getting Michelle to contact you. Like I say, it may be Monday or Tuesday, and but we'll get her working on you and get you over here. Thanks for coming in tonight, Skyline, and I will check out your channel. Free beer tomorrow. There you go, folks. James will be buying everybody free beer tomorrow, contact the mayor after the show, and he'll let you know how to pick up your voucher for free beer. That's awful nice of James, and we can we appreciate him contributing to the channel like that. So free beer from James. Did you hear the ugly truth of trucking? They made him drive while he was feeling sleepy, and they were threatening him that he was going to get fired if. No, I didn't see that, but I know there's companies like that, and I would just say that if a company told me that, I'd rent a car and go home. I'm going to do what's best for my safety and health, and I'm not going to be bullied or controlled by any company. Boy, doing these videos in a rest area is a lot of fun. You see all kinds of things. Yeah, I agree with Frank. No load's worth your life. Let the company fire me. Exactly. I'd rather explain to my next company that I left because of safety concerns like that than I would die out here because I let some dispatcher who's sitting in a nice, comfortable office and will be going home in a few hours tell me what to do and how to do it. Um, and I did tell a dispatcher one time there's a reason his computer didn't have a steering wheel. And I told him if he wanted to drive this truck, I'd go home. I had no problems. Just tell me where to park it. And so I've calmed down a little bit in my old age. I'm 50 now, and but still, I'm not gonna let them bully me into doing something that's safe or dangerous because you have an accident out here, it's on you. The company goes, oh well, we didn't know he was doing that, and so you're going to be the one that goes to prison, and you'll be the one that gets hurt in the accident. If your dispatcher's not going to be hurt if you run off in a ditch or run off of a cliff. So just think about your safety at all times. That's especially for you new guys out there. They're going to try to get you to do all kinds of stuff. This is the funniest thing of all. If they fire you, it's going to be hard to find another trucking job. I'm in Chicago right now. It's about a 2-day drive to Lubbock right now. If Swift fired me at 8 o'clock in the morning, I would have another job, probably several, before I got to Texas. Trucking is the easiest industry I can think of to get a job if you've got a safe driving record and experience. That's why it's important to go to a company, stay there a year or two, get your experience, don't run into anything, don't get a bunch of speeding tickets. But I've never worried about, oh, if a company fires me, I won't be able to find another job, or if I quit, I won't be able to find another job. The jobs will be there. It's finding a good job might be a little harder, but I I get offers, and I'm not. It's not because of being Trucker Todd. Most of the guys in the comments here get emails from several companies a week, and if they got fired at 8 o'clock in the morning, they'd have somebody wanting them by about noon, and by the time they got home, they'd be taking a drug test. If the company didn't want them to take a drug test on the road on the way home, some of them might not even go home. They might rent the car and go straight to the next orientation. But yeah, it's not hard to get a job out here at all. That CDL was, they told me when I got it, they said, now that you have this, you'll never be unemployed. And I've found that to be true. All right, we got anything else? We're at, with the first video and this one together, we're at over 2 hours. So um, we'll probably wrap it up soon if we don't have anything else, any more questions or things you want to go over. Tuesday, I can't tell you what's coming on yet. I'm still putting that together. Uh, I've got a lot of irons in the fire. We got to see which one rises. And if I don't get any of them put together, then I'll just come on and we'll do like this Thursday video and kind of talk about what's going on in the world. And thanks, Mayor. And you guys, after the mayor buys you your free beer, uh, I'm curious to know. Let me know if it was a good beer, if he signed up and if he showed up and signed autographs for you guys, or if he bought you a steak dinner with it. It'll be fun to see. Let's see. It's a little different in trucking. They know how some of these companies are. There used to be companies that would put bad stuff on your DAC report, which in trucking, your DAC report is kind of like your credit report for being a truck driver. It's what companies you worked at, if you left them on good terms, things like that. And there were certain companies that would trash your DAC report, put false information on there to try to get companies from wanting to hire you. But after a while, companies knew, oh, yeah, you work there. That company does that all the time. And so, about the only unforgivable sins in trucking is abandoning a truck. You don't want to abandon a truck and you don't want to vandalize a truck. And so, it's better to, no matter how mad you are, call them, say, hey, I quit. Where do you want me to take it to? And take the truck and leave it in good condition. Take them the keys, the permit book, the fuel card, uh, anything like transponders in the truck, things like that. Take it to them, hand it to them. Try to get a receipt if you can. I did a video about how to quit a trucking company, but yeah, you won't have any trouble getting another job, especially if you've got more than a year's experience. They know how some of these companies are, and sometimes it's just a personality difference. Maybe they're a good company and you're a good driver. You just don't work well together. Now it still sends me emails 4 years later. I should research their lease program to share with y'all, unless you know a guy. Their website doesn't say much. No, I don't know anybody over there now. I know a guy that used to work there. Um, and I know Mother Trucker did that interview where he talked to a bunch of guys over there. Um, but I don't know a lot about them. At some point, I may explore that. For now, I'm real focused on trying to get reefer division people in here and flatbed division people in here because we've got a lot of people asking about flatbed right now. And so that's where my priorities are now. At some point, I may try to do the Mother Trucker thing and get some of the big wigs on the Tuesday show and pick their brain. But in all fairness, Mother Trucker, and I'm not a big fan of his, that interview he did was really, really good. And I don't know that I could top it or ask any better questions. So I'm not in a hurry to do that because I think he did a really good job on that video. But if there's some new developments at Swift or not, and something I believe I can add to the conversation, then I may look at doing that in the future. Are you going to see the Super Bowl, or will you be out on the road working that day? So I'll be working for sure. It just depends on how my loads line up, if I can actually stop and watch it on my TV in the back, or I've got satellite radio. I can listen to it while I'm driving. Uh, but the problem I've got is I get so many phone calls that it's really hard to watch or listen to anything. I've got an audio book I've been listening to for 3 months because I'll get, a few minutes into it and then I'll get a phone call and I have to pause it and take the call and help whoever it is. And so, but yeah, at some point, I hope I can watch the Super Bowl. I'm really cheering for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I am a big Dallas Cowboys fan, and yes, I like Dak Prescott, and I don't blame everything. He had a terrible season. I'm not going to candy coat it, but I don't believe that it was all just him. I believe they win as a team and they lose as a team. And I hear a lot of people criticizing Dak about his performance, but I think there's plenty of blame to go around. We can blame that kicker missing all those extra points. I could go out there and uh, I might not make all 5 extra points, but I'd make at least one of them. And so I don't know what's wrong with that kicker, but um, that's the deal there. So, if you weren't an owner operator, would you have considered working for HEB since you live in Texas, driving HEB trucks? So this week, I got contacted by a representative of a company that works, or that it's a trucking company that HEB owns, and they offered me a job there doing dedicated, pulling trailers to HEB stores. There's one HEB in Lubbock, and there's two more being built. And I told them for now I'm happy at Swift. The company I was referring to before in Lubbock, I actually delivered to United and Albertsons grocery stores. I didn't work directly for that warehouse, but I worked for another trucking company that was subcontracted. And I went to Taos, New Mexico 6 nights a week. And then I had Thursdays off. So I'd drive over, get about half of the way back, and then have to take a 10-hour break and drive the rest of it. So I was home every other day. And like I say, I was a company driver. It wasn't a bad job. The money was decent until you took out health insurance, which at the time my wife was going through some pretty severe medical problems, and I had to have that insurance. Chris brought up another good point. Yeah, the other deadly sin in trucking is to quit under a load. Go ahead and deliver your freight and take your truck to wherever the company says to take it to. Don't quit under a load and say, you can come get your truck and leave it at the TA and go home. All companies will hate that. They want you to take care of their customers. So get the freight where it needs to go, and then you can move on to greener pastures. And I'm going to make sure this guy doesn't take my hood. Nope, he's good. All right, we're back in it. Who do you think was more popular, The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin in wrestling? I like The Rock because he was hilarious, but they both had great careers. I'm not a super big wrestling fan, but yeah, back then I liked Shawn Michaels. I thought Shawn Michaels was pretty good too, but he's from Texas, San Antonio. So anyway, uh, we're getting ready to wrap this up. I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. Uh, we'll go ahead and cut it off now. I think we've exhausted most of the questions, and I need to go deliver this load. I want to thank everybody for coming in, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you Tuesday night, and hopefully Monday I can put out a community post and tell you who's going to be on the Tuesday show or something. I'll try to have some kind of recorded video for Monday, and then we'll see you Tuesday night. And I got to go back and edit these and fix these. But thank y'all for being here tonight, and we'll catch you on the next one. And all righty, y'all take care. Bye bye.